You're listening to Rise 101.5 FM. You're listening to Rise 101.5 FM. You're listening to Rise 101.5 FM. Tune in to Rise 101.5 FM. You're listening to Rise 1. You're listening to Rise 101.5 FM.
It's Rise FM. Rise FM.
So Yamubi Biara Aquababa Rise FM 101.5. You see, on mine, ye mine, and then Anopen so Yamubi Biara Aquaba Biumba Rise FM. And then Mwamu share Jumedia who do be brain, a coso mangano, but it's through a idiom wakutini, a State of the Nation address. Ah, you have pensem, so ya can want some and then Anopay. Yeah, Cassie, and I just say a gun and penny, Fonia, man, penny, nebedi chiri, just say, Omabochi Quaco goo, a mention with your Parliament House. Not just say, Omubeko or Omunyako do, I petcha say, and send be and I ever so a name. Nana no pay me a midi medium champion from me or Odeneho na now Nyarko Abronomaa me name Nyaba Akushia, and I just say, young Cassia papa so oh fear her. Oye steward papa steward kesie pa ewo Methodist asafunumu ye manager awa ha ebi ayi Abraham ayi onu so ofia agozia nana yesi o man be ye free ye nara eno kre
no crepa
e de na kire
nana say me fan say what oka na nim say car na okita no e say wo maintain ni car na say wo maintenance for car ne ho na say one ye na say ye one na ye
and say one or ye
yes enti no e be ye a na e free ye enti o mine many uncle ato ye adwen ba ko say so mine be ye a ni fie mara
before beka obetu nwum no ka sem bi o say obanyansafo
ye bu ni
be na mo ye den
o say ye bu ni be ba ye kana asem
enti ne say we ye nyanseni a ane ye di be kasa kire wa obe den oti ase no ariate facts enye say afi no be die na ye ken die na ye ken manager so fi ha ene anope yi honorable Abraham Ayi and chese akosi ansa na manager ni manager ebe twitwi enkomo no anope no die na wo die na obeka kire tiefo ni ahwefo
oh anope make say and they a working day on Sunday Wednesday a working day it's gidi say nkofo bebre na ene ko adwuma but say we are fortunate na say radio around and na say o TV e wo ho na say utie me too for say nka tie rise oko online oko YouTuber obenya ye wo ho no oko Facebook so obenya ye make say share make sure say obetie asema o man peni ewo edemaye ene anope obe address ye on so many things na o man peni nana adodan kwai kofo ado edebe ye ene anope eti meka say baby bia wo bia tai kuchu na tie na say whilst I wo share na wo tie yen no so na wo send your comment bibi wo ho no mo na say ope say wo draw your attention to a obetimi ye na ye share the nation's address no sha president aba vice wo ho no mo speaker of parliament wo chief of staff so wo ho no mo 18 and then no enya sem ketwa
enye asem ketwa
yeso ya tedin a ye twen
yeso ya tedin a ye twen
dia o man penny and na say wo sha obe hu say former president and I say because say ex-president bi mu eso parliament o share ye papa Kufuor e wo honomo John Ajekum Kufuor the John Ajekum Kufuor e wo honomo sa enso e na John Dramani Mahama eso e wo honomo utimu se mpenifo pa etwotwo yes omo parliament yes entino ye ba betie di o mampeni e wo edema o my Ghana it's no say na me kan me din kan no me patcho bit me follow ye wo YouTube and I say Facebook ye wo share not ye mau information and I say yen show neoma echo say in case na say TV any around our be sha ye be inform you will be bia echo so ene anope it's nana no. Yes, the president to deliver the State of the Nation's address. Ain't no and de obia entai kuchu na muntie ye. Esan say you my papa be brave at the bremo. El man penny me sure say enche obesha say obekasa. Obesha says obekasa. Nti obesha nyoma o man penny ewo maye sectors are obetachi niema omaye so far any nioma omo pese omo kosoa eye plans ne nioma omo ma oman Ghana no eno na ye twen na ye tie o man penny ene anope iti no nana kakra me woka eno no
and akosi das nyankopɔ onhyira wo ye bebo brim ne akɔhye yankasa ye general manager wo fie ha na no pay Mr. Abraham Ayo wo fie na no pay na kyese eno nso Mr. B
yeah
me ba choye mo akwa baba rise FM ene anope o man hye breju medie no asusu si na ene ye wonyo me bia betaka unse nyoma koso bebre o man ga ne mu ba ene no ye behwe
the states of the nation
address o man penyi eba be maye ene anope de na wo ka efa ho ba ansa no be cha chi a tiefo ne ahwefo maye
okay me da wa say Odeneho say me dinchia efi Rise FM station studio ha no mo ema for na hwefo nyina say na no pay on be jimre atena se etie rise online radio ahwe niama pa ye wo de mo na anope obi biara ote yanka emze omote yanka che na nsen ye ko holidays kakra because of one or two things, but enedie ye no mo ha no nti me se mo bia ko bibia ontie that's
and mo bia ko bibia ontie ye manager me pa chana no pay so we share the state of the nation address on mampanyi ba be ma oman yi a de na wo kafa ho
se on se abibia no se mampanyi bi ba be ma state of the nation address you share the economic crisis and everything surrounding us no na fe ye they are expecting ya oba be ka che no nyama ye pese ye expect from the speech na obema no enti most of us make us say the majority of Ghanaians expect say omampanyi de address every ye they na ordinary bi ba be tudwa e betumi ama nkoso bi aba because ya nkasa ye hwe the state in which we are in now, the energy sector, the education sector, everywhere challenges be bring. Honoma or say to me tackle until obia expect to say mampanyi address or de braye to me tackle sanya marketing kitten send a baby to me abuama Ghana to me abejina because baby aye true no obia sun obia tete obia kase niama nkoyie into obia expectations no high pa ye pese ye say at least or the
bibi as say baby akosia
nana
manager so akani dio no expect say omampanyi beba na wa akama etiefu nyina etie ene anope you know say ye share state of the nation address year yenim say omampanyi be kasafa educational sector and health sanso na economics ene ne keka nyina ehun bi agosia
nana
ene anope no ansana ye be pia ko enim no wo share state ayewo mu year ansana omampanyi be ka biafa wo share state omadie na wo kafa ho
nana obeka ya say I say you break it kakra. But before we went on break, you know. Now me can be say I say oh my Ghana yeti also. Once me tie kapa. I say yeti also. It's you'll be a Olivi in a fool's paradise. Fanche me kasa. No beka say bibia is okay.
Okay.
What I say unless you are living in a fool's paradise. Now beka say oh Ghana there. Bibia is smooth. Okay, and I say me ni baby where you stand, but from where I stand and I say baby me Gina de kasane de me who say nyoma bebre wo hono mo I think say president you know and now obema your address you know we finding solutions or they ba on board because no me feel say it shouldn't be a normal address as it used to be. I say like the obema last 2 years, last 3 years no like now currently I say yahoshishie kakra into no we are all hoping say solutions will come on board. What I say ye de be hen high ebe ma ye kuma hen high ye kakra because no Ghana yeshi to be frank Ghana yeshi
ayeshi sisi de bebo brimni yakɔhye nyama ekoso che say omakopi ma hwe bedwe fia no no
yes
omakopi ho na che say ho abochi kwankasa hwa ye ma se wotwa we na wohwe de we ho aye na che say omampanyi waye krado papa say obeka ensem obeyi ensem wa sha ase kra no enti ye beburu yekɔ parliament house si ana yakɔhye nia eye den ekoso wo ho ekoso ewo eho no mo a production guys mumu aye na che say yenko parliament house si a ene anope ebright yefo ni ahwefo nyina ehwe yen
the excellencies John Ajekunukufo and John Dramani Mahama, the former First Lady Her Excellency Nyarko Rawlings, and the Dean and members of the Diplomatic Corps. Mr. Speaker, it is the 8th of March today, and that means it is International Women's Day, the day set aside globally to honor all women. Please allow me to acknowledge and appreciate the significance of the day and heartily congratulate women all over the world, and especially women in Ghana, for the role they play in realizing the dreams, cares, and aspirations of humankind and of this great nation. The presence of women leaders at both the local and national fronts have advanced rights, enhanced equality, and in general, improved the living standards and quality of lives of all concerned, including that of men. The theme for this year recognizes and celebrates women who are championing the advancement of transformative technology and digital education. Mr. Speaker, apart from my own personal fond memories as a member of this House, Parliament stands as a symbol of our democracy and its values. It stands as a reminder to all of us that our country has chosen to travel on the path of democracy, and at the heart of that journey is the idea that the government can only govern with the consent of the people. Mr. Speaker, it is important that we stress this point, because after 30 years of democratic practice, we may be tempted to take it for granted. We need to remind ourselves that our compatriots, the majority of whom are in their early adulthood, have no personal recollection of the struggles that got us to this point in our development. In the same way that only a small percentage of our population can recall life under colonial rule, similarly, the memory of dictatorship, one-party rule and military rule is receding into the dim past, and the struggles that have brought us so far are disappearing into the recesses of history. However, because Parliament directly represents the citizens of our nation in this hallowed chamber, it will always be the reminder of those struggles. It is important we never forget that democracy is not a static achievement, but a process that needs continuous nurturing. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, we must remind ourselves that in our country's political history, it is the restoration of Parliament to its proper place that has always symbolized the restoration of power to the people. And may I say that when constitutional rule is interrupted, it is Parliament that is shut down. The other arms of government continue to operate. 30 years ago, this House convened for the first time to mark the commencement. Years of the return to democracy were fraught with challenges, but the years have seen the deepening of our democratic culture to a point where a candidate of the minority side in Parliament today presides as the Speaker. This is no mean achievement. Given the way the numbers shaped up in the House after the 2020 elections, many cynics and skeptics predicted a doomsday scenario for this Parliament. But instead of a meltdown, we've witnessed considerable cooperation and unity of purpose among all parties and factions. This is to a large extent a measure of the maturity of our political culture and democracy. We will need even more of such bipartisan maturity to meet the challenges confronting us at this time. Today, we live in a country in which we enjoy complete freedom of expression, freedom of association, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, and political affiliation. Indeed, freedom of speech has now reached such heights that even members of the diplomatic corps feel able to join in our national discourse and pronounce on matters that will be problematic for Ghanaian diplomats in their countries of origin. Nevertheless, Mr. Speaker, it seems to me the important thing in our free speech environment is actually to try and hear each other instead of raising the decibel level of our individual points of view. Mr. Speaker, to come before this House to deliver a message on the state of the nation is a symbol and practical demonstration of accountability. And I always treated the occasion with the utmost respect. This address offers us, as usual, the opportunity to provide an honest assessment of our country's situation and seek the support of all in addressing it with hope and confidence. Mr. Speaker, when we make an assessment of what the state of the nation is, it will necessarily have to include what state it was in yesterday, the state it is in today, and what state it will be in tomorrow, based on reasonable grounds of expectation. How far back should we be looking to make a judgment on the state of affairs today? Mr. Speaker, I believe that the issue above all that is quite properly dominating the concerns of all, and how we can quickly stabilize the economy and work our way back to the period of rapid economic growth. Our currency has been buffeted, our inflation rate has been very high, and for the first time in our lives, debt exchanges have become the language of everyday conversation. As such, Mr. Speaker, I wish to make a departure from the usual format of messages on the state of the nation and concentrate predominantly on the economy, which will enable me nonetheless also to make some statements about the state of our agriculture, education, energy, health, infrastructure, mining, tourism, and security. This is not to belittle the contribution of the other sectors to the growth of our country, but I believe the exigencies of the moment justify the position I am taking, particularly as all sector ministers continue to provide official updates on happenings in their respective sectors. I have said, and many others, including the managing director of the IMF, have said that our economy was doing well until COVID-19 and the war in Ukraine, was doing well until COVID-19 and the war in Ukraine took us off course. Mr. Speaker, I will be heard. Hansard has to record me. I will be heard. Maybe because of the severity of the present difficulties, or maybe because it suits their preconceived agenda, some people are unwilling to accept that we were on a good trajectory until the arrival of COVID-19. The Ghanaian people, however, accepted this proposition as evidence in the results of the 2020 presidential election, which were unanimously endorsed and upheld by the 7-member panel of the Supreme Court. Mr. Speaker, allow me to go on a short trip down memory lane and remind ourselves what things look like back at the beginning of 2020, when I came to this house to give an account on the state of our nation. This is what I told this house on 20th February 2020, and I quote, Mr. Speaker, in 3 years, we have reduced inflation to its lowest level, 7.8% in January 2020 since 1992. For the first time in over 40 years, we've had a fiscal deficit below 5% of GDP for 3 years in a row. For the first time in over 20 years, the balance of trade, that is the difference between our exports and imports, has been in surplus for 3 consecutive years. Our current account deficit is shrinking, interest rates are declining, and the average annual rate of depreciation of the CD, as it is lowest for any first-term government in the Fourth Republic. Our economic growth has rebounded to place Ghana among the fastest growing economies in the world for 3 years in a row, at an annual average of 7% GDP growth, up from 3.4% in 2016, the lowest in 3 decades.
May we listen in silence? Please, it's my duty to protect our best, and I will do so without fear or favor.
The international investor community has recognized the development, resulting in Ghana today being the largest recipient of foreign direct investment in West Africa. The sovereign credit rating agencies have upgraded our ratings and also improved the outlook for this year, notwithstanding the fact that it is an election year, unquote. Mr. Speaker, that is where we were at the end of February 2020. 3 weeks after this speech, in which I expressed our sympathies and solidarity with China on the difficulties they were having with the new virus, our world changed. The virus I refer to arrived in our country and in the rest of the world with a vengeance. Within weeks, we were in the middle of a lockdown. Our airports and land borders were closed. Schools and factories and even markets were closed. The hospitality industry was brought to its knees. Our economy, like much of the rest of the world, went into a tailspin. We took many decisions, and we did many things which, according to the science, were the most reliable and trusted ways to save lives and livelihoods at the time, which may look strange and unnecessary today, but that is from the safe perspective of not waking up to check on the COVID-19 infection or death rate. Indeed, there were some who suggested that we cancel the national identification registration exercise and even postpone the 2020 general elections. Who would have thought that today anybody would be questioning the fumigation of schools and markets? I recall vividly the straight talking I received from a group of our most eminent physicians and other scientists on the urgency of fumigating all public spaces, including offices, schools, hospitals, markets, churches, and mosques. The few who could afford it even fumigated their own homes. Today, the science might be that such measures make no difference to the spread of the virus, but criminality or reckless spending cannot be ascribed to the decision to undertake such measures. Mr. Speaker, you might remember that we could not produce Veronica buckets fast enough. Today, it is not an obligatory item on anyone's list of purchases. In dealing with the crisis generally, I did not meet anyone brave enough to suggest the considerations of money should be a hindrance to anything we needed to do in the fight against the virus. I was, and I am grateful that the people of Ghana rose to the occasion, and together we went through the crisis and came out well by defying the doomsday predictions about the inevitability of dead bodies on our streets. I'm grateful that we saw the wisdom in helping each other, and I thank those who contributed their expertise, time, and energy to the fight against the virus. And I thank those who contributed to the COVID-19 fund that was set up to help us meet some of the expenditures. The economic consequences from the pandemic have been devastating. Mr. Speaker, it is precisely because the economic fallout from the pandemic is so widespread and long-lasting that it is important to show clearly that the COVID-19 funds were not misused. It is critical that we do not lose the confidence of the people that a crisis that they were led to believe we were all in together was abused for personal gain. Mr. Speaker, it was government that asked for the COVID funds to be audited, and I can assure this House that nothing dishonorable was done with the COVID funds. The responses from the Ministers for Health and Finance on January 23rd and 25th, 2023, respectively, have sufficiently laid to rest the queries from the Auditor General's report. And I believe any objective scrutiny of these statements from the Health and Finance Ministries would justify this conclusion. We did provide 518 million CDs of grants and loans to micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises through the NBSSI, now the Ghana Enterprise Agency. It was 302,515 enterprises benefited, of which 60% were women-owned. These were MSMEs that were in distress as a result of the pandemic. For some traders, the receipt of 1,000 CDs made the difference between the ruin of the household and survival. In addition, 58,041 health workers were empowered to supplement the existing health sector workforce. Subsequently, all of them have been absorbed as permanent workers in the health sector. Frontline health workers were also granted 50% tax relief for the period. Was that something to regret? We should be ever grateful for the work that so many people did to keep all of us safe. All households enjoy free water supply and huge discounts on electricity bills because access to water was a necessity to ensure people adhere to hygiene practices, and access to electricity was important as everybody was encouraged to stay at home. It also provided an economic cushion to protect lives and livelihoods at a time of difficulty. Today, the government's support for utility bills is being projected by some as a waste, or to use that word so beloved of some commentators, profligate. Mr. Speaker, the government took a deliberate decision to try and keep the inevitable disruptions across all our lives down to a minimum in the education sector by opening schools and education institutions as soon as it was made safe to do so. It was an expensive undertaking and not universally popular. But faced with the prospect of a whole generation of our children losing irreplaceable years of education and the real likelihood of many of them dropping out of school, however, forever, we took the brave decision to open the institutions. Even then, it is worth pointing out that the school year has not yet fully returned to the predictable pre-COVID calendar. After the event, some might be tempted to forget the volumes of sanitizer and other logistics it took to keep the schools open and safe. In much the same way as some might now to forget the vitriol that came from some who should have known better, threatening hell and damnation when, according to them, the children start dying in the schools. Mercifully, we did not lose a single child to COVID in school. I would like to suggest that with the best will in the world, Mr. Speaker, no auditor can put a figure on the cost of keeping the children in school safely during that crisis, nor the continuing cost of the effect of the pandemic on our young children. Not the financial cost, not the emotional cost, and certainly not the social cost. But we must thank the Almighty that we have survived to repair the damage and begin to rebuild our economy. Beyond the use of COVID funds, there are legitimate questions being asked about how the country's debt situation got to where it is. Mr. Speaker, let me state emphatically that we have not been reckless in borrowing and in spending.
Honorable members, it's not yet your time to say, wait until that time arrives. Please, honorable members, I will allow spontaneous reaction to statements, but I will not allow debate of the statement. Your Excellency, you may proceed.
It is worth noting that the debts we're serving were not only contracted during the period of this administration. Mr. Speaker, we have spent money on things that are urgent, to build roads and bridges and schools, to train our young people and equip them to face a competitive world. Considering the amount of work that still needs to be done in the state of our roads, the bridges that have to be built, considering the number of classrooms that need to be built, the furniture and equipment needs at all stages of equipment, of education, considering the number of children who should be in school and are not, considering the number of towns and villages that still, considering the number of towns and villages that still do not have access to potable water, I dare say no one can suggest we have overborrowed or spent recklessly. Yes, I've been in a hurry to get things done, and this includes massive developments in agriculture, education, health, irrigation, roads, rails, ports, airports, sea defense, digitization, social protection programs, industrialization, and tourism. We can be justifiably proud of the many things that we have managed to do in the past 6 years. As I go around the country, I hear the pleas for more roads, schools, hospitals, and as the rainy season comes, I wish, as every other Ghanaian does, that would have built more drains than we have. And I wish we have the resources to do more. But Mr. Speaker, I'm proud of the amount of work that we have done, especially in the road sector. Roads constitute the largest number of questions asked in this House by members of Parliament. A large amount of the monies we borrow are for road construction. Shall we dare stop constructing roads? Mr. Speaker, I would like to state categorically that this government has built more roads than any government in the history of the Fourth Republic. And Mr. Speaker, the details of all these roads are attached in the annex to this message. I have done so because last year when I made a similar pronouncement, I was met with howls and gasps of incredulity from the minority benches. And so I thought it appropriate this time to present it as an annex to the statement. Which will be part of Hansard. Beyond the construction of roads, Mr. Speaker, this NPP administration has implemented successfully the National Identification System with the Ghana card, constructed more railways than any government in the Fourth Republic, established the Zongo Development Fund to address the needs of Zongo and inner city communities. And under their auspices, we have conducted more infrastructure in the Zongo communities than any other government in the Fourth Republic. Constructed more NCA licensed fiber optic cable than any other government in the Fourth Republic. 93% of the total. Increase the proportion of the population with access to toilet facilities from 33% to 59%. Increase the number of public libraries from 61 from independence until 2017 to 115 in 2022. Providing more equipment, vehicles, ammunition, etc. to security services than any other government in the Fourth Republic. We have successfully implemented the digital address system, improved significantly the financing of governance and anti-corruption institutions like the Ministry of Justice and Office of the Attorney General, the National Commission for Civic Education, SWAG, Nyarko, and the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Implemented the One District, One Factory initiative. In 4 years, 106 companies are in operation under 1D, 1F. 148 factories are under construction. This is the largest expansion of that sector since independence. Constructed more fish landing sites than any other government in the Fourth Republic. Established Africa's first national scale electronic pharmacy platform. Provided free Wi-Fi to 700 senior high schools, 46 colleges of education, 260 district education offices, an initial successful pilot of 13 public universities. Introduced drones in the delivery of critical medicine, vaccines, and blood to people in remote parts of the country. And today, Ghana has the largest medical drone delivery service in the world. With zipline distribution centers in Odeneho, Mpenya, Vumsi, Sefiwoso, Ketekrachi, and Elu. And overseeing an improvement in revenue collection with the introduction of an e-VAT and e-invoicing system. For example, figures from 19 tax-paying companies onboarded onto the e-VAT system reveal total recorded monthly sales increasing from 222 million CDs in November 2021 to 720 million CDs in November 2022. Again, in December 2021, total monthly sales of 284 million CDs also saw a huge increase to 1 billion CDs in December 2022. Indeed, the evidence of how state funds have been used to improve our society is all over the country. No district or constituency has been left out. And I believe there are many Ghanaians who will vehemently disagree when some say there's nothing to show for all the funds that have been at my government's disposal. Mr. Speaker, I would like at this stage to brief the House on how the talks with the International Monetary Fund have been going since the announcement on 1st July 2022 of our intention to engage the IMF for a funded program. Mr. Speaker, having reached a staff level agreement on 12 December 2022, after 5 months of intense negotiations and completion of most of the prior actions required under the agreement, we are on course for the IMF staff to present to the IMF Executive Board Ghana's program request for a $3 billion extended credit facility by the end of this month. Mr. Speaker, the 3-year IMF program, anchored on government's post-COVID-19 program for economic growth, aims at restoring macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability whilst protecting the vulnerable. It is a strong reform program which relies on front-loaded fiscal measures to increase domestic resource mobilization and streamline public expenditures to support inclusive growth and enhance social protection. Mr. Speaker, I thank the House for its support throughout this process, including the passage of key revenue laws. However, a few more of these measures, namely the Income Tax Amendment Bill, the Excise Duty and Excise Tax Stamp Amendment Bills, as well as the Growth and Sustainability Levy Bill, are outstanding, which need the urgent attention of the House and passage to complete the prior actions. This will put us in readiness for our presentation to the Fund Board, and more importantly, bolster our domestic revenue mobilization efforts. Mr. Speaker, it is clear that given the extent of the fiscal and debt sustainability issue we are addressing, fiscal adjustment and structural reforms are not sufficient for restoration of debt sustainability. A critical component of the measures we are implementing to address the current economic crisis is the debt operation involving both domestic debt and external debt. The debt operation is aimed at returning the country to debt sustainable path by 2028 by reducing the debt to GDP ratio on a general classification basis and in present value terms from 103% in 2022 to 55% by 2028, and reducing the external debt service to revenue ratio from 29% in 2022 to 18% by 2028. Mr. Speaker, in order to achieve these goals, the decision was taken to execute a domestic debt exchange program, in addition to fiscal adjustment, external debt operation, and structural reforms. The participation rate of 85% representing tendered bonds of 83 billion cedis out of the total eligible bonds of 97.7 billion cedis, constitutes significant success for the DDE program. The 83 billion cedis bonds that were successfully tendered also represent 64% of the outstanding domestic debt of 130 billion cedis at the end of December 2022, as pension funds have been expressly exempted from the DDEP. I want to take this opportunity to thank organized labor, pensioners, pension fund managers, the Ghana Association of Banks, the Ghana Securities Industry Association, the Ghana Insurance Association, the Individual Bondholders and Retirees Forum, and all others who have contributed to make the domestic debt exchange program a success. Mr. Speaker, I know it has been said over and over again in the past weeks, but the voluntary nature of the DDE program bears repeating, as is the fact that the government is committed to honoring all coupon payments and maturities in respect of both old bonds and the new bonds in line with government fiscal commitments. Mr. Speaker, we're also making progress on the external debt negotiations since the government announced an external debt service suspension on 19th December 2022 for certain categories of external debt to ensure an orderly restructuring. This suspension is an interim emergency measure toward a comprehensive external debt operation which will contribute to the restoration of our debt sustainability in line with our request for debt treatment under the G20 Common Framework. I want to express our appreciation to members of the Paris Club and to the People's Republic of China for the cooperation they have so far exhibited to us in attempting to reach an agreement and in their attempt to establish an official credit committee. We look forward to their fast-tracking the needed financing assurances for IMF approval. We are confident that with their cooperation, we will reach our March deadline for going to the fund. Mr. Speaker, we remain resolute in our vision to restore macroeconomic stability and promote inclusive growth. Mr. Speaker, government recognizes that sustained growth must be deliberate, especially in a global landscape marked by forces of technology, trade, and intense competition. It requires a combination of leadership, social cohesion, and deep investments in core capabilities of people, firms, and institutions to harness our opportunities. That is why, together with our private sector counterparts, we're anchoring Ghana's medium-term growth drivers on competitiveness, integration, adaptation, and digital innovation, all aimed at raising per capita GDP from the current $2,500 to $4,500, aligning with the Ghana Beyond Aid Charter by 2020. Mr. Speaker, concluding the arrangements with the fund will not restore our fortunes overnight, but it will set us on the road to recovery. With fiscal discipline, we will regain the trust and confidence of our business partners and the investor community, which will give us space to continue our productive plans and policies. However, in addition to our engagement with the fund, we're also seeking and implementing some original and innovative ideas to try to solve our problems. For example, the Gold Purchase program by the Bank of Ghana and the Gold for Oil policy are creative uses of our resources, which are already bearing fruit. These policies are aimed at achieving two results that are critical to the health of our economy. Firstly, they'll help us preserve foreign exchange, especially the US dollar. And secondly, they will enable us to stabilize the price of oil products such as petrol and diesel, on the domestic market. We have already seen some success on both fronts, with the price of US dollars and petroleum products falling since we announced the policy and began to implement. The average price of petrol at the pump, which had risen to 20 cedis a litre in the middle of December 2022, is now 13 cedis and 80 pesos a litre. The price of diesel had risen to more than 23 cedis and 70 pesos a litre, and is now selling on the average at 13 cedis and 80 pesos a litre, which is a reduction of almost 10 cedis a litre. We expect this trend of falling fuel prices to reflect soon in our daily lives, since transport fares affect the price of everything. I hope the trend of prices going up and down, going up and coming down, become a regular feature of our retail economy, as being demonstrated in the fuel prices. Because as we all know, prices, especially of petroleum products, used only to go up in our country. I do worry about the extraordinary expenditure on security at our borders, but we do not have a choice but to spend resources to keep our borders safe. We dare not compromise on the safety and security of our nation. And my first responsibility as your Commander-in-Chief is to keep all of us safe. The foundation for all development is the safety and security of our nation and its people. The reality of the state of affairs in our neighborhood demands that the government goes to great lengths to ensure the security, safety, and stability of our nation. The threats of terrorism and violent extremism surrounding us require that we pay maximum attention to protecting our borders and working in collaboration with our neighbors to keep our country and the region safe. This is the prime motive for the Accra initiative, which is already yielding results. To speak up, I'm able to cite here some of the equipment we have provided the military to help them protect us all. Allow me to list a few. The Army has received 104 armored personnel carriers, 70 utility troop carrying vehicles, 20 armored vehicles, 85 assorted Toyota vehicles, 50 Ankai buses, 40 Jeep tailed vehicles, some explosive ordnance disposal equipment, large quantities of communication surveillance equipment, growing quantities of weapons, and 4 unmanned aerial vehicle systems. And the Ghana Navy has taken delivery of 4 offshore security vessels and 4 Zodiac boats. We've also continued the process of upgrading the housing needs of the security services. The Barracks Regeneration Project Phases 1 and 2, the Military Housing Project Phases 1 and 2, and the Ghana Military Academy Infrastructure Project are expected to be completed and handed over by the end of May this year. Mr. Speaker, we continue to pay attention to the police service. We can now see more of the police on our streets in the urban areas. Ever so gradually, driving on our roads is becoming more orderly. I note that even motorbike riders now stop at traffic lights. Things are improving. 504 housing units comprising 72 one-bedroom and 432 self-contained units have been completed for the police service. Recently, I delivered 100 pickups, 600 motorbicycles, and 6 armored personnel carriers to the police service to boost operational capacity. For the first time in our nation's history, the police service has dedicated helicopters to help with its operations. Mr. Speaker, I must share some good news with the House. I am particularly proud of the dramatic intervention government has made to tackle the long-lasting and utterly disgraceful problem of dilapidated and inadequate number of courts in our country. Many of the courts have not been fit for purpose and do not provide suitable facilities for the efficient administration of justice. The inadequacy means that people have to travel long distances to gain access to courts. As someone who for years earned my living as a practicing lawyer, I have first-hand experience of the unacceptable state of courthouses around the country, and I'm glad to inform the House that we are resolving this problem. Through the Ministry of Local Government and the District Assembly Common Fund, government has embarked on the construction of 120 courthouses with accompanying accommodation for judges across the country. Indeed, 60 have been completed, and the others are at various stages of completion. For the first time ever, we have the happy situation of purpose-built courthouses with accommodation that are waiting for judges to be appointed to put them to use. 6 new regional high courts fitted with judges' residence are also being constructed in the new regions, i.e. Ahafo, Bono East, Northeast, Oti, Savannah, and Western North. 3 of the courts, that is those in Northeast, Oti, and Savannah, have been completed and commissioned. Those in Ahafo, Bono East, and Western North regions will be completed by April. Mr. Speaker, I had the present duty on 17th October 2022 to commission a new modern Court of Appeal complex in Kumasi, together with 20 townhouses and a guest house to serve as permanent residences for Court of Appeal judges based in Kumasi, who are mandated to handle appeals from the northern part of the country. The Asante Hene, Otumfuose Tutu II, who generously gave the land, was present at the ceremony. It is a truly magnificent sight, and I recommend it to honorable members who go to Kumasi to pay a visit and see it for themselves. In addition, 210 vehicles were earlier in 2022 distributed to all judges in the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, Higher Court, and lower courts. Mr. Speaker, it is a well-known fact that in this administration, TVET and STEM feature frequently in all conversations about education. Technical and vocational education are being given the place of honor they deserve. Since the realignment and introduction of free TVET, enrollment in TVET schools has increased from 13,000 in 2021 to 47,000 today. And all the indications are that this is a trend that will continue. In 2022, the TVET service recruited 3,400 staff, the highest in the history of TVET in Ghana, to accommodate this development. I was told last week about one young person who was placed in Achimota School in the current school placement exercise and has turned it down to go to a STEM school. I think we are making progress. The strides we're making in education are already changing lives and changing the narrative. As of this year, nearly 2 million young people have benefited from the free SHS policy. Predictions that the policy will lead to a lowering of standards proved wide, very wide of the mark. On the contrary, the results under the free SHS have shown a systematic improvement, and as a result, 2 million young people have either found a way to further education, training, apprenticeships, or employment because of the free SHS policy. I'm proud of the educational additional educational infrastructure, especially the provision of ultra-modern classroom blocks for several schools, which are equipped with laboratories, ICT centers, and libraries. The establishment of 10 STEM centers across the country, including one in Accra, to aid the study of engineering and robotics. Construction has also started at the University of Agricultural Science in Bonsu in the Eastern region. Mr. Speaker, apart from the enhancement of revenue and the judicious use of resources, we are all agreed that we need to do something about our huge import bill. Last year, I set up a 5-member ad hoc cabinet committee to work on a policy to enhance domestic production and export development with a fourfold strategy to: 1, reduce the country's import bill in the short, medium, and long term; enhance domestic productive capacity in selected products; generate widespread employment opportunities; and 4, diversify and expand our export capacity to Africa and beyond, especially through the vehicle of the African Continental Free Trade Area. In 2021, Ghana's total import bill was put at 13.7 billion United States dollars according to GRA icons. On the evidence of existing local productive capacity, we have identified a list of 20 priority products in the categories of primary agricultural products, processed foods, and manufactured goods, where we can confidently enhance domestic production. Amongst these are rice, fish, poultry, fruit juice, sugar, tomatoes, vegetable oils, oil palm, fertilizers, pharmaceuticals, soaps and detergents, insulated wire, ceramic products, corrugated paper and paper board, cement and clinker, and motor vehicles. The report on the implementation modalities to enhance domestic productive capacity in these products has been prepared, and once confirmed with your approval, the new Minister for Trade and Industry will roll out urgently a series of initiatives to implement the youth and women, the Youth Start program. This program seeks to support young entrepreneurs to gain access to capital market training and technical skills, compliance and quality assurance support, and business development support services that will enable them start, build, and grow their own businesses. Mr. Speaker, the Youth Start program was successfully piloted in 2022, with 70 youth-led businesses benefiting from the initial 1.98 million CDs. Subsequently, a total of 288,800 applications have been received and are being processed by the Ghana Enterprise Agency for full operation. Mr. Speaker, government remains committed to infrastructure development. Working with the private sector, we continue to explore the use of public-private partnership arrangements as a financing alternative to the delivery of critical public infrastructure, such as the Accra-Tema motorway extensions, Accra-Takoradi motorway, and the Sogankope-Lome transboundary water supply projects. In addition, Mr. Speaker, the $750 million United States Afro-Exim Bank facility, which has been secured, will make it possible for us to construct many other roads and interchanges, including the long-awaited 4-tier Swami in. Mr. Speaker, we have now reached a point where we feel the impact of technology as an irreversible way of life. We have digitized many processes. The Ghana card has become a one-stop shop for Ghanaian identity and its usages. We're fully convinced that our embrace of an investment in information technology and the digital infrastructure will help us to redefine our traditional concepts of time, space, speed, and nature of conducting business within our society, economy, and culture. Information technology helps all segments of society to be integrated and transformed through connectivity, in facilitating the production, distribution, and consumption of information within the whole economy and society. We have integrated many processes within the digital environment, and for this, we have to recognize the efforts of many component parts of the government, such as the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization, the National Identification Authority, and especially the Vice President, Dr. Alhaji Mahood Bawumia. Who I understand has been nicknamed E. Bawumia. Our need for technological reinforcement within all our structures and spaces is unending, and we will continue to push the frontiers of our engagement with the technologies of information, economic development, and human transformation. We must be cheered by the improvements being made in the National Health Insurance Scheme to make access easier. The scheme is currently one of the better digitalized institutions, and I hope they get the public satisfaction that they've developed a self-enrollment mobile application, My NHIS app, that allows Ghana card holders to self-enroll in the scheme. And this application enables registration and renewal for oneself and others by linking NHIS cards to Ghana cards. In 2022, over 5 million members' data was linked to their Ghana card to enable them to access healthcare using the card. The National Health Insurance Authority has also improved its claim management processes with an emphasis on e-claims and paperless systems at all 4 claims processes. And lessons from the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine conflict justify sufficiently our increased investment in the agricultural sector. Indeed, the sector recorded significant successes with an average growth rate of 6.28% from 2017 to 2021. This consistent growth over the period has translated into improved food security, job opportunities along agricultural value chains, and availability of raw materials for industry. To address the vexed issue of post-harvest losses, we have constructed some 65 warehouses, with the remaining 15 in the advanced stages of completion. This intervention is adding some 80,000 metric tons to national grain storage capacity. 29.9 million United States dollars worth of machinery and equipment have been procured from Brazil to boost mechanization. Government will this year commence preparatory works for establishing a tractor and backhoe loader assembly plant in the Ashanti region, and continue capacity building of operators to ensure effective management and prolong the lifespan of agricultural machinery. Mr. Speaker, the impact of climate change and variability on global agricultural activities is a call to all of us, and indeed all countries, to adopt appropriate technologies and other innovative practices for sustainable agriculture and resilience against food insecurity. Government's response, among others, has been to continue to invest in irrigation infrastructure, both large and small scale, across the country. In 2022, government completed the rehabilitation and modernization of large-scale irrigation schemes at Tono, Bong, and Bong Left Bank projects. The three schemes are expected to provide 6,760 hectares of irrigable land for all year-round crop production. Phases 1 and 2 of the Tamale irrigation project have also been completed, with phase 3 of the project at 57% completion. Mr. Speaker, we are now at the most difficult stage of electricity provision around the country. The parts that are left are the very difficult to access area. The national electricity access rate increased from 79.3% in 2016 to 88.54% in 2022, making us amongst the top 6 in Africa, and we're still expecting to achieve the 90% universal electricity rate by 2024. To reduce transmission system losses and voltage fluctuations, and to improve the overall quality of power supply, old lines are being replaced on the western, eastern, coastal, and middle corridors. It is worth noting that 3 new substations have been commissioned between 2021 and 2022, thereby improving reliability and efficiency. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to inform the House that the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, has since the last quarter of 2022 embarked on an aggressive digital transformation program. In the first phase of this program, set to be completed by end of April 2023, the focus is on creating a cashless and efficient payment system. I'm pleased to announce that on 1st March 2023, all ECG district offices became cashless. This is a major achievement by all standards. Since the start of this transformational program, we have so far seen a 25% increase in the monthly revenues. The second phase of the program will see the digitization of postpaid bills and the digital tagging of all meters. In our estimation, these initiatives should increase the monthly revenues of ECG by some 40% before the end of this year. I firmly believe that the initiatives which have been so boldly rolled out by ECG will make revenue leakage a thing of the past and address consumer pain points in their interactions with ECG. Mr. Speaker, we continue the fight against galamsey with the support of the security agencies in the short term. However, we're determined to promote responsible small-scale mining through community mining schemes. So far, 16 of these schemes have been commissioned, with 3 more to be commissioned by the end of this year. All these schemes are supported with gold catchers, pieces of equipment designed to help small-scale miners to extract gold from the ore without the use of mercury. In 2021, I launched the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program. The program employs several youth in the production of seedlings and reclamation of degraded mine lands. Currently, reclamation is going over 1,000 hectares of degraded lands in Ashanti, Eastern, and Western North regions. Mr. Speaker, on the international front, I should state that having gained a seat as a non-permanent member of the Security Council for the years 2022 and 2023, Ghana, as one of 3 non-permanent African members, is working vigorously to push the African agenda, which includes the fight against terrorism and the reform of the UN Security Council. I'm pleased to state that good progress is being made on the reform of the UN Security Council. A US president, for the first time in the person of President Joe Biden, and the French president, Emmanuel Macron, have both embraced the reform process. It is our hope that the leaders of the 3 other P5 members of the Security Council will soon do the same and help bring about this much-needed reform that will bring greater effectiveness to the work of the United Nations and the Security Council in the maintenance of international peace and security. We continue to be active members of the African Union and ECOWAS and support strongly measures both bodies have taken against unconstitutional changes in government in our region. We're working with our partners in the region to strengthen regional cooperation in the fight against the terrorist menace in West Africa, hence our commitment to the Accra Initiative. Mr. Speaker, our decision to prioritize tourism as a key policy for economic diversification, job creation, and growth is clearly paying off. The World Economic Forum report of 2021 Travel Index ranks Ghana as the #1 tourism destination in West Africa. The potential contribution of tourism and the arts to GDP is therefore one that we must nurture and emphasize. Both domestic and international tourism are rebounding significantly from the severely disruptive impact of COVID on the travel and tour industry. International arrivals nearly trebled last year from a low of 355,158 in 2020 to over 915,000. Domestic visits to tourist sites are also up by over 55.7% during the period. All these have been made possible by deliberate marketing initiatives and upgrades of tourist infrastructure by the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture and its agency, the Ghana Tourism Authority. The Beyond the Return initiative, which I launched in 2019 as a sequel to the Year of Return, has reignited excitement about Ghana as the hub and a mecca for the global Pan-African, the home every person of African descent must visit at least once in their lifetime. A few days ago, at a historic ceremony in Washington, D.C., we conferred Ghanaian citizenship on Mother Viola Fletcher and her brother, Uncle Red, 108 years and 102 years respectively, 2 of the only 3 living survivors of the Tulsa Massacre of 1921. In May this year, I'll be chairing a tourism stakeholder retreat on rethinking tourism for national development and job creation. I I've tasked the ministry and its agency, the Ghana Tourism Authority, to work on the modalities to bring together all the stakeholders within the industry. Over the next couple of years, my government will deepen even further our efforts to make tourism a strong primary source of growth for the economy. Mr. Speaker, Monday was 6 March, our Independence Day. And this year, we had the main celebrations in the Volta region. I made the decision to rotate the Independence Day anniversary celebration in order to enhance the cohesion and unity of our nation and to make it clear to all segments of our population that we are all part of the One Ghana project. I'm glad to inform the House that it was a happy and grand event set against the breathtakingly beautiful background of the Adaklu Mountains. Mr. Speaker, 60 years since our independence, Ghana has taken steady strides to become a more developed country. The Ghana of 1957 is not the Ghana of 2023. We've come a long way since the days of our 6 million population, with very few modern amenities for its people. Today's population of 32 million, with a growing stock of modern infrastructure, spanning drones to supply our medicine, to the Ghana card which identifies each of us as proudly Ghanaian. As President, I have championed the innovation of policies and the execution of projects that have helped improve the quality of life of the Ghanaian people. And God willing, I'll continue on a path that brings the most benefit to the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, things may be dire today. Nevertheless, we must count our blessings. Our petrol stations have fuel and will be spared long winding queues to fuel our vehicles. Our markets and shops are by the grace of God well stocked, and we have not been faced with the prospect of the rationing of basic necessities such as fruits and vegetables. Our children's schooling has not been interrupted. We've continued to provide free SHS, free TVET, and paid teacher and nursing training allowances. Our electricity supply has been consistent, and we've been spared the hardship of doing so during such a trying time. Our country continues to be stable and at peace. Throughout history, there are many instances of nations going through periods where dark clouds create shadows that momentarily shield the yearned-for vision from sight. Such moments should not be ones in which despair takes over. Such moments call for strength of character, sense of purpose, and an abiding commitment to the general good. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, fellow Ghanaians, let us believe in ourselves and in our capacity to overcome the problems that are before us. This is a phase, and with
Chi baby.
Tuning to Rise 101.5 FM.
Anne yasama makwa babiom yakọ pie mu ewo manhyeredwe fie ewo brofo kasen beka no Parliament House ehọ ne yakọ pie mu na yasa dimika true na be pie mu wo Rise FM 101.5 ene ewie yin so mo fanche ye ne anopei ana kakakra na chese ye wura ewie mu ano no o mampanyi wabọ no tew amayen wakansem ene anopei o mampanyi wakansem wababa address nation no chese yesi so na 2023 agozia
nana
so tinya o mampanyi kan ye
o mampanyi wakasa pa o nana
wakasa bebre wakasa na me uni bebi a me de
Catherine.
Pa ewie ya no kura no. Yese emi se minority for na to say nwum no. Say nwum na manager ato amaye. You are mehu se manager wa atro ankasa. Okopie manhye bedwe for atro nyom ankasa. Ye bebe bobo mu ofie ha manager.
Okay, me da say. Odeneho me da say pa say.
Ne.
Wa me akwenya no te say na oka no yaba.
Yaba
na de na yaba. Okay, so first of all no sana make sa na him say na International Women's Day say na ma.
Exactly.
Kai no na che say imani nyina no yese nyankopɔ enhyira mu nyina. Ya nim say o ya de na so oba wo mu a eyeye nti imani nyina nyankopɔ enhyira mu. Yes, expecting more from you. But I say,
yes, but more from them.
When I made a shas here, Nemo, to send a walk cano, nyoma minority ni majority at all, yano. Difference ka crowd.
Difference ka country, difference nana.
Majority no at all, ma or mine who here.
Annie
Ghana my
dear.
Into my own here. My yen for baku ye. Yen for baku ye. And or mine what I say, and that one from the other side, and then the other side is all be lie, nanado,
all be lie,
but me compare to na nyum to na yeto ya na, what me who say the other side no, call it the attention of in kabum is an say, omunyina nim say. It's an so many nim say, enye one-sided, and able to me abuama or mino aye. Nemo bien ye kamboma and or mino ebe ye. Into who say the other side no call it for in kabum. Okay, say almost call it for in kabum dear, and dear young cosona afe yen share nyama.
Ba ansa na yebekọ so no mampanyi be hye na address na asie no obonkofo bia baso o akonleji nkofo bi say mampanyi dada John Dramani Mahama ewo ho bi nti no obonidin ema na akwa bakese sanso so na ma nana kunedu Ajimaroles ane mampanyi dada a wonya ne baby ko ne ho kanfo ane ono so obo na baso sanso so na senior manager dikan kaye no ozaso bo emenyina abaso se chese anka emade omu nka ho bia nka omanga na medie enye ya na akosia meboa
nana sa pepe
ya akosia duo de sa pepe enti ye bebo brim na chese ya kwahye nyoma omampanyi kan ye emom no ye be sha se free education sector no yen kohwe ho be sha se free education sector nja akosia Mr. Tefiri wo so me hu se suku ko we ni so ade hu papa so obi nko school help pint ne ye mfemfire de na obeka fa ne omampanyi e kan ye hu
Nana, on say is it Kweji agree in the car say if you educate a man, you educate one person. But if you educate a woman, who educates a whole nation. Nana, it's very true. I agree with him totally. Obeka say, make I say, see Obeka say when it comes to education, I'm here emotional. Nana, me emotional because no, won't say that make I say, me a problem with the government schools especially because no, most of their teachers are trained teachers. Na menti ase say e bia no bi owo senior high school we school and I say obi a we university you train bibia about teaching but okop private sector and I say private schools ni ko try they are not pass but ye ba train teachers no mo try government schools na there na nkola na efeli poto eno ene ye me problem ye papa etache on that or eno okan about free senior high school. Now, or mention number, you'll see over 2 million enkola are benefiting from the free senior high school project. And I say, we na or the buy, you know. Nana, I say, school on more than a far on it will move fast. Say, one more detailed information on that. But I say, or bosso. I say me sectors ni na me boss winti no or you need tell no boss so call but I think say you need like one say ya oka covid na sem no one say covid no or teams or komu ye or my details keka say one say I say issues be na if you feed that hormone sector no aba na say okasa more on that. But the one can be say or can about the education no one can be brave and for education. I say obi beka say news flash like a tremu keke so what I say because social senior say school no aye
yen Ghana na ye produce cocoa
pa
by nche bia na ye fight we came between cocoa production and galamsey nche bia and I am asking myself say na ye hwe nyama esisi a ye say yankasa ye say ya great sector. Now, Nana, do you know something? No. I went in 2000, the year 2000. Me war in Sawam. Just this year in Sawam. Now, your farmlands at Pebri, Ewa Honoma, your farm, Ewa Honum. What I say. But just 20 years down the line, we are in 2023. So, Oko Opayokro, as I sit here, all the farmlands they sit down arente they sit down arente. And do you know what?
No.
I bet you by the next 20 years all the farmlands are like Kaswa Cape Coast hono mu nyina eko ni nyina no ye de besi dan any schools. So your great sector na ekohi. What I say?
Yes.
It is about time. I was say you see high buildings.
High buildings.
Whoa. So baby sit down. Yet to me ma see high buildings. And yen to me travel and call yen farmlands because as I am telling you, say a farmlands and then you be bra to this see estate.
I can see. Say how na se can buy free.
Enti farmlands no say na all can ye be cram machines every year bia amanpanyin bi beba no abema yen state of the nation address no aka say or improve agriculture or improve agri sector but then nana mamen ka no kran chirel it is some few years to come ye nya farmlands and ye farm was so
answer na ye bet so no your life on YouTube na microphone so the omo messages fa ho the ba Prince Elson Apori I was say I greet you all rise morning team yes so ye je so papa commenting the baby bebre but ye nto aso all kasa no kasa almost 65 warehouse almost 60 because ya request when person me no bobo hu I say almost 65 warehouse. I'm on my God, I so what under construction. A dear na worker a farm in a Greek sector no.
Me to say no ka. Bono
no
boss say she also.
Honey.
And in your ma. Nana.
Na goja kasamame because we are born your maso ankasa.
Obo boss pa. Uti be say no matter your car or car factories near ma na but nana
akozia
it's like address na even mine no there is no solution no solution bia amfa ma e your current situation and I say your current problems are you finding yourself in no ya my solution to any of our problems. Yeah, my solution to any of our problems.
I go sure.
Oh, nana. Emu dia na who solution. Ebi na sa time na me tonkwa. Na me pity na me sorry. It's like the address, like ye kaya no. It's about eniyama ma ye twem. What I say? And na afeyin so the ma me ntimi anya ne sese me ye. Wo
it's a blame games. Yeah, blame.
One say na no na one wo me twede no. Wo nyoma metimi ye. And that wo me twede hwede amaye. Into no it's like blame games anyway, but you didn't give us solution to our problems. Nana. Me say so no Bobby biso to say drainage ni nyoma. Nyoma bi wo ho no mo a. You should have given us solutions. But yes obebo boso. So what in America na say? And that's why I can build a warehouse. Warehouse I did in Ekogum. What I say? This is a manager I can farms na ye be using and no na ye build real estates. Ye be galamsey. yetimi twa obi koko edigu
egu
na de asasini ni na etu galamsey
and no
what I say eti warehouse na wo si no who to gold ni de kogu warehouse no ana say then na akwakoye warehouse
saints ya na we see your friend is saying factories unse or the way by one district one factory one
dy
we see bebre na even 148 is under construction.
Nana, the question is ye can agric yi na wo say aduane na ye de be kwakogu warehouse and anya aduane ye de kwakogu warehouse no
Exactly
na asase kro na ye de be dua aduane no eno an ye di tu galamsey enti dien na ye di kwakogu ho edin na ye di kwakogu factory as a warehouse
ni mo
na factories no so kra then na ye producer ye de air co factory no. We should find solutions to the problem. Oh, this is our problem. Na sesi and the assassin na sisi adan. Eti dey ya ni say baby ye do ye nton asasi bio. What ma be solution to the problem? What I say? But obobo asem no so na obobo so sa keke dia nana. One pass him bia nkan chem you. It is still let me say ye blame games. There someone the jacka say past glory and blame games. You are dwelling on your past glory. Adia why you trim. Ena afei nso no eniema aba na wo po obi di ade na eden ahye no forget about it. You say catch say this Ukraine Russia war here ko en affect any economy bia e wo wiase apart from Ghana
okasa no obo so kire ye say
COVID no affect obi na COVID no ko America for and Ghana for way ekun other African countries ekun krofo say nyoma be brave, but people are picking back the pieces. It is then yes we be picking back all those pieces now. You be beefy the economy. You don't forget about the blame games and take steps. Yeah, I didn't know about untimi shame fan. It's an amobe na ye two a day fan. It's like yeah my solution no. Yes, 13 your money.
My papa and they call your manager. I could see a capi say blame games and I just saw my penny eba ye just a bobon your maso a blame me your master me BBC who got my idea and an man could you can me and man could see him commissioner. Now also on the same say about a Greek sector and on the same.
Oh, okay. Sena, you were kind as I won't say. I dare no COVID-19 happened. Yeah, 2020 and we are in 2023. Okay, last time I was giving a talk, I will be in America. Say even in COVID-19, for people were making money.
Exactly.
What I say, people were making money.
Manager, answer about COVID-19 a buyer na some kind time back. Recently we realized this say time COVID-19 buyer na isi sika ni ho no. Na Pentecost for omusika cost 17%.
And I make it. Even Ghana, not just a Ghana mpo Pentecost cost
17%.
Okay. Wherever challenge be one, there be you can say be a country a lot of challenges, no opportunities be ho. What I say, country, and this is what the foreigners are taking advantage of. Well, they are taking advantage of this. Okay. Challenges be brave Ghana. So then solution I made to me there. One solution or the bag Ghana wabe the factory where too many scale they call the chrome. But yeah, yet monocrano. You're ready say provide this solution to our challenges. As Ejewa said, we need solutions, and I me pay or man in the time he made mention of unity of purpose. Unity of purpose in Kabum. Intimacy say like I don't know, but say yet now say as parliament are discussing bueno to say na year king. You see some of us here can in the solutions ever. Because let me say one thing. To say one district, one factory. If you are telling me one district, one factory, we see baby and we see baby. So how many people now wait to me I employ? Okay, district are me womi. Even constituency are me womi. Me who factory be a ye be no as one district, one factory. And then no more producing. What I say? So I'm thinking, say, I will say it is about time. I will say, you can boom as whether you are NDC
or
you are
MPP, CPP, whatever.
As parliament, no.
Yen
These are the
boom.
challenges we have. Let's pick it one after the other, and then find solutions to our challenges. Send a bit to me a yenim. And yes, idea. Odeneho mekano crachel even a great sector and send a mekano. Won't say should I say 148 factories under construction. Okay, one district, one factory, no, and I produce agricultural products.
This one man penny be yina, Yanoni, and as a minister of agric.
So even I wanted to say, I wanted to make a recommendation. Say it is about time our parliament, Bema Quine, ama each ministry be
address state of address.
Money address. Own wishes. What am I saying?
Matthias,
I was say, what to me my address, what to me address the parliament. Now you who say when it comes to agri sector, this year 2023, sad day when a year to me a year. First, nay was say ye to me do say, ni bisa no question until say ye bear sad. They won't say, on my opinion, it's a box something.
It's a box something.
What I say, oh no, Wagada be a reporter, a Greek, dear mano, reporter, roads and highway, dear mano, reporter, way trade, dear mano, and oka. What I say, but each minister be a embemaye, the report, okay, and also go down, constituencies are ye woman, MPs are more parliament, hono. It's about time, almost on be accounting.
For your my
year, 4 years, and so now be
baby and
say, oh my yes, Messi dine way, Messi way, and also we are back at me say, oh yeah, policy maker, and do what in a parliament, a policy, now policy, when it comes to road, the union also construct road. This is not about that. So I think say it is about time to send a year can Greek sector or say a Greek sector no ministry no the minister there or to me be my report ni ye to me bisa
questions because onu na ohwe sa adwumedie no so answer na ebeto aso akosi obebe mu no messages be about YouTube why you say Prince or say we can't trust this president or say yentimi nje sa omampeyini yentimi nyini dida there da also say all be lie even the parliaments were against him. Ebra omoto all be lie enyum ama omampenyi and another than kwakufu ado sanso no show see what sort of president be this president be kura nie na che say ni hwan hu papa ya abrant ye kobi ono so see president anado keep on lying to us because all things he has said we haven't seen anything, only one road I have seen so far. Asemu I say only one road I've seen so far is the one at Kaneshi.
Oh, and
you should stop lying to us. Abrante come in the same way about to YouTube.
Catch and say it's because of Kaneshi.
Because
of Kaneshi. Aha. Our Kaneshi into Obeka say we.
But say manager okay so ko be otutu kwan yo. Abrante ko be otutu kwan.
It's because of Kaneshi.
Or Kaneshi ntinu or kama Kaneshi ana.
Even bubuashi. During the time asphalt will be
baby
like
baby
okay. But baby because of our Kaneshi or Kanasa.
But second is soon manager.
And I may say
but a whole Kaneshi who one road pay.
Me
when you too Isaac be defend no
even though we no me to nana o de ma me fa we ntwa to e wa Greek sector no na eje1 bremo ne America na say gone are the days na Ghana ye leading producer of cocoa. What I say na ye produce the best cocoa in the world. Okay, it is getting to a time I say China crab be take over or say other countries take over. Now I ask myself, them biem na ye be to me a produce na ye the largest producer over the whole world. These are some of the things I also say to me the bar out. Ebeka say okay, looking at Ghana, ye who say this way ade we ye dua ye betumi produce more. Last time I was checking something prekese.
Prekese, yeah.
And somebody was saying say prekese grows in Ghana and Israel. It means that, and also social health benefits of prekese. It means that we can produce more. Never ye niama
Baby prekese
the whole world ye to me ye niama bibri. What I say. So I am thinking say it's about time a great sector no. One or two things. Near grow no more. Na to me I the largest producer.
Akosia and then a manager I can na also kafa ho not just say if you pay your movie straight to IMF or can send be ewo ho.
Nana say o share to say manager you can na. There was some time and I read say cocoa. As I say no Ivory Coast na the leading producer of cocoa.
Okay.
Say Ivory Coast na pa Ghana ho. This is what I say. This is China for cry. Yeah.
Cocoa. I do cocoa.
Ane. Unim China for who? It's nana. Make I read say. I'm say. Omu na the tree. Omu cocoa beans na ye de cocoa beans no. I say yehu mercury. Mercury we be wo. Ghana cocoa. Emunti no. The possibility and shy be jai Ghana cocoa to ne cry. Which means no sa galam say na ye de mercury ni huru gold no adeni say you na ye de water in Indiana no anase nnuaba no eti no enya effect on us nana me kakra meka ne say we should find bibi na manager kan yem pe bibi a ye be dua ewo on a large scale la. And also be aboy like you forget about cocoa because na now better cash cashew nuts share butter wo ho no be brave wo ho no more Ghana as me say gata crowd dia de woman ebeba it be bia ye hu say like ye dua ye no more na na share ye say Singapore ebe fa friend say palm fruit abe omo be fa abe e free Ghana and they call Singapore. But say Singapore a world leading producer of oil. Omo kra like Ghana, what is our problem? I say ye timi ye bibi, na yan kasa ye timi. What say you're producing raw material now. We should process it into another thing. What say like bia the cocoa now they are abroche, ni akọ process it. Na ye the chocolate. No, who now who do cocoa beans no. Who do cocoa no. You be more price I would better cocoa no but I know the chocolate if you broche bar or no more price I say with chocolate. How what are you trying to tell me? Say me na ade na media na me media ade na ebrewo no wo kire me say nya wo beto ade na fa but wo kono ko process ade ni into something else now wo ma me price me fanto Africans it's hard time I say yes sorry na ye jai sabi jimie no na ye ma ye ni da ho. Because no say I don't know producer. It won't mean international doing something in Kuto. It means me find actually this in Kuto ya.
Just in Kuto.
Na me will not na be what me feel honomo. Or in Kuto new aduanu. Or the yes still. Now kona say one nani area. It say you make us a fried or say the Ghana there. Or you'll be a fried or. It is a fried or pepe. Or the yes still. Or the ben you jollof. Or the baby bibia me or pe make say o man be me so mean Kuto fro ye but there was one day your baby mama jollof me no make me say oh auntie Tina we di Kuto jollof and I'm say sister na say me chia be there na we hu we can do something with in Kuto say the sunflower oil won omo the seed ni oil ye oil soya bean no man it in Kuto so intimi find ni bibi Ghana we should set up yen best solutions and my problems no na yen jai blame games na mesaka yen jai say who come say we wa ha no mo a say ope na na hwe oka achievement we ye machine keke
achievements be
o say say electricity offices na ye cashless a major achievement
na oka say o say the first time in life I see the first time in of life Ghana has become I see the first time in life death has become the language of Ghanaians. Just say and I saw ya depths I bet that ye kasa
na say de ka ana ye de ka
you sorry pe na ye kasa say depths
na ye de ka
depths
utimi mbu ani ngusu ye de ka
na kwa say ye tuatua so ni depths but oka sembi ewo IMF ensem sem sika omo ko borrow ye nyina no obebo se sika omo borrow nye so omo borrow sika no se bibi o omo borrow sika no so omo de be ya akwan ni bi na ye nua abrante ko bi so hu bi e ba ko pe no hu o kaneshi enti ho nso ye card mfa manager ye card mfa ho o say che say I see most of the money borrowed is for construction of road. Say no kan ye. Sika na ye borrow nyina no. Ye kwa ye say bobusi amode ka mode twonwo momanga na musa na na Ghana de ka. Ye de ye kwa ma mo ankasa sese ne amoto ka mu no a mo nam so mo nka se potholes e kwan no. Eso manager de na waka fasa asem a o mampanyi e kan ye ene ho.
Okay, Nana, me that say pa. Say I want to say something about this. Sika ye borrow every year acquire no. The unfortunate thing is acquire acquire kofa eduane ni niama ba no enye yen target. Wo eno nye yen target. Na mom yen target ni ye okay. Me who say from say me for taxi say all can nation will be run about so overhead no more. If I taxi na me taxi driver na kasa na me ka che ne say Onza Mahama, His Excellency former president ebe construct circle owie ye pe traffic ebe si obichebi traffic na was circle na nyina be si obichebi. Okay, thank you. At the end of the day, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo so buy on also say traffic na we no obichebi no eson until say ye overpass say na ebe ya nkofo no ho beto mo omo ye kro mo wie why ya on wie and listen to me is the same issue and ebe happen ewo Kolebu Junction even before Kolebu Junction you want say ICGC for no yes asa we akodu mo true side no e be si one start is ipo dada manager I start is what I say so oko won say it is about planning oko foreign countries na won say overpass aye no you to me here overpass from somewhere it to me traveler you fan say from Kaneshi it to me traveler go see Kaswa Togut what I say not just say one more go straight to sa Cape Coast ho no mu nyina no mo nyina mo fast rako what I say just say 1212 bi omo pese omo bus stop ni nyama anu no mo befa down so I think say it is about time man this ye borusika e de akoye overpass short na ye short akosi baby na ye short akosi baby no it's about time man ye be hwe ni yi
it's about time we hwe ni yi
ye nye road no nso enko baby farmlands a omo kwa kofa aduane aba na mum cities na ye wo mu no komo ase se ye say Suame Oseden overpass ye koye eno those are some of the things that ye fi say ye eno beboa meanwhile the farmlands baby a road e ko honom no they are suffering what I say so say ye borusika mfa koye land ye mfa koye kwan a ebetumi di sika aba ebetumi di aduane aba ebetumi di nyama pe bi aba oman thank you.
And I go say idea na waka fasa asem manager de
enye roads nkwa no obo nyoma so osan borrow or see roads any if say ports airports or kan or see sea defense or kan schools and osan car say hospitals 18 no nana
I go see
but what mu say na or based on roads it always a roads no or kan it say 3 times so said roads no say nyameka na me problem and no appa na manager boss no say because now sometimes you to me share TV wo na tomatoes esin rem now put top na say wo share kwan ni pa fi baby tomatoes ni be travel from na ba krom na omo ba anasa bedwa so ama omo mu fi other regions ayekọ hon makwa kofa sa nyoma na ba
tomatoes na bana
enye kwan ketwa
nye kwa ketwa
eno sa road ni mu ne de
yemfa ho
but ye dream all about the urban like urban areas city wo city say city ni yefe wo city ni so say city ni yefe eno ti na youth ni na so edi america hu ye na ya ba city we na ba city because me no be ya dem abaka je so you krasi ni de me ba city
na me so
but say what ma city no ayete say ya krom ne ti na e de na me ma me dwane fi krom village na ma ba be ye wo city because nyoma na me hwehwe wo city ni na bi wo village no na there was some we be me share won say obi ti moto achi na eduane na ye de ban e ko ha na e ba ha na basa etinye pacho ya ma wa another solution. Yes, say fako baby at this resource because nana no credit won say road no enye adwuma bi amfa mame e mame nyamfa so wo so but say we dey call that area na say kofa tomatoes bar ye betimi aton bi ama say ebro ye nso ya export bi akọ other places say what you say say so na say your body o say your menken o say your bayu o whatever it is no ye betimi transport ade any from farm no to the city. So what I say? Exactly. This is a manager. Eh, nche kombe di yen yo. Oh. E kombe di yen rough. Because no, sisi ano ukoto eduane first na kita 2 cedi, onya kenke 1 cedi. When you china 1 cedi. Sisi kenke dey born 4 cedi ni 5 cedis. It is our ma 3. Na mu talking ke 4 cedi a, ma talking ke 12 cedi. Eh me mu po. Ene more e say ya batan eduane kwa ne boa ye de. They should find solutions. Mesa ka be because be make be ameka. Omo solutions ma problems no na momo mbo problem ne so momo mbo problems ne so keke omo find solutions to the problem. If it's roads mo fa nko be anuane no efifi nkrase no eba no mo fa nko ho no mo na at least no ye be hu say ye kwan no ama emo aba ama meko aba ama jena aba because most of our nyoma na ye perishable goods
exactly
enche na perish enti no omo ye pomo chopan inka factories ya omu sisi say ye kosua nyoma yi de ba ye betimi aye nyoma bebre ye betimi processing most of the way nnuane no aye no ye betimi process enti no ye pomo chopan omufa roads ni embukef enfanko side say na be ya warehouse no musisi ni so faso aba ho
warehouse no musisi no faso aba so answer na be to aso ne ho abiem no o say the Fourth Republic no Ghana omo ewo abem no Fourth Republic abem omo na MPP fo no ma be ya akwan papa anya akwan a portos ni nyoma dada so omo no omo abeye na o say omo so no omo the best road construction brown better na ben mu no akosia
o say nkasa mu o state say bibia o say under the Fourth Republic no omo no the best under the Fourth Republic no
omo no the best
it's no eno de wakama yate ase wakama yate say omo no the best but it's up to me anyway to judge say if they are the best or not what I say or no wabe Canada wabe blow ni horn it also it's up to you wabe judge say ade your boy the obo ni year na say one money
manager ye be ko share DDEP nso no kansem bi efa enho o kansem bi efa enho e de na waka fasa DDEP no enho or say domestic debt you know ka bibi fa ho e de na waka fa ho because o ma eti ase say sika na yo mukogye ewo ehonum no enye sika bi a mo beka say e bi o mbedi o manum Ghana for ya adwi o mo adwi ne say na sika ne ba ye mfa nye bibia wo kuronum emum ye de hwe ya ye hawfa o ka bibi ewo ho or say the DDP is being done to help protect the economy and enhance our capacity to serve our public debt efficiently. Or see the alternative of not executing the DDEP would have brought grave disorder in the service of our national debts and asema baha just a brofona anwa yedin ewa ha or say the alternative of not executing the DDEP would have brought grave disorder in the service of our national debt. And also the current economic crisis, the government is therefore grateful for that. Just say, Ankoman fa DDEP ama enka edin sembibri enebeba manager asem we dia na waka fa bra mampanyi eka so because my teacher said that's the importance of the debt exchange program. Na omode ba akwemu no.
Odeneho,
manager.
I think say, I don't know the program me and them me come my tell for at say me shut down go through of the specification near that program no eye. What is entail like a juma moye pa but borrowing money no na jewa can be about sea defense and hospitals. I ask myself this question, say if you go to Dubai is an island, they are using their sea to do so many things. And I'm saying I'm a research be on my restaurant be our sea no so what I say hanging restaurant hanging restaurant are ote honom ADD
now we show so
eposo and a wood and me yen hanomone there yeah they are baller and borrow money they sea defense for what?
You this is Ebola beach.
What I say for what? What I say. And beaches no uko not see uko sense then no moye. She ni ho obi fi abrochi eba onko ho no nko hwehwe wo ho.
Hwehwe wo ho.
Ye ni hanging restaurant wo ho no obi fi abrochi ba behwe. Anasa betena ho edidi atwa pictures. Selfie. Ede akọ ye ni hwe wo ho nti Mr. Pasa nyama we nyina I say hospitals I want to touch on hospitals okay. I am begging the current administration of this country say we should focus kakra ewo yen herbal hospitals so because your herbal medicines are ebetumi asan yare
bebre
you call even these hospitals now yen to me inside just say akoye operation you won rube ebetumi asa cancer any liver problem our herbal sector no enti it's about time the as a nation you be building herbal hospitals na etumi use your herbal medicines na use ni ye ama yen mo say herbal medicine na ema yen kidney problems
you know no
bebre dodo ni amaniama no mo tumi a cheche yen ye because me call hospital nana say me call hospital say see ana say ema me herbal medicine na eche me say na ye nom na say me kote ahaban na say me benua ya che me deda nti minim say na me nom no na ema me problem nti yen jai sa hospitals na yisisi na yede abofundro no ebegu ho bebre no it's about time yebetumi see herbal medicines ama yenko for mo akosua herbal medicine yeni niama no ombetumi ejuma
aje
say na me kan no when it comes to the DD EBN EP ni de no kre minim jumedie potina omoye but when so I can say sika omo borrow no enya ade omudi enya ade omudi ye we ne de no kre ewo nyankopɔ enim ye hu hwee a ye be ka se mkoboru sika billions of cedis ejuma we na mode ye once a ye hu ye ne de ye be ka se wudi ye what I say ye be ka se wudi ye inti mayen physical evidence for us to know say ampa mkoboru sika we no ejuma we na mede ye. Yes, of course. Then all of us will bear witness. Sampa ejuma we na there. But so be kan sa so ye do ho no ma ye ko hu hwe. There ye bekas we disca no.
Ye bekas
we disca no. Aha, sa na there nti.
Akosia.
Nana.
E dia na waka fa ho.
Nana. Manager kan nyina. Waka. It no say DDEP. So whatever it is, no. The little I think say na se me do car na se bikita me car na me de be car na ba na me de be take car ni bi like I say exchange like me shada ente ade na se ye but I say me say na majo pen na me ntimi afa ba de me handkerchief so what say ni ade na se ete but all the same no they should make sure or say they are not borrowing recklessly. What I say, some of my say, borrow recklessly, but it cannot borrow ni adeni ni na the year projects, the year projects. But nana, seeing is believing. Seeing is believing. Yes, we need to you need jow. So we need that many gani oh. Yes, you can borrow 1 billion no. And I did see Accra Academy. Now in the Kasama no cha. Oh, I'm borrow 1 million. I'm this Accra Academy. But if you don't give me something to point at make sure say you are borrowing recklessly now wouldn't sikano wouldn't chawenu so what you say
sa sem na me de pa oka bibi fa ho e wo ho o say
also they are not borrowing recklessly
and okay say they are not borrowing recklessly e wo oh my god no mitini akwa say asentwa to so I say we have not been reckless
in our borrowing
and spending.
Those spending and we I say they are not borrowing recklessly. Nana me I was expecting say and then looking at the economy saying that yeti also nana ya budget achie yi. Enka ombe my solutions are within yankasa yourself no. You betimi a generate some sikabi and I say you be generate some funds via you betimi dia sustaining economy na because no share salaries are those parliamentarians edging me we parliamentarians CEOs board chairs ni nyoma nana wakuma betu wakuma betu na ordinary Ghanaian no or super water or Carnation no yeah generate 3 cedis as tickets yeah jini 2 cedi 20 pesos as tickets na ano she enti no mo be country is in the yankasa within us na ye be kate ye cost ye betime di a generate funds bia ye betime di a support yankasa ye hu because no sika bia ye di ni de sika no de like sika bi mo e do so na ye expenditure ne do so say ye income we spend more than we earn. Until we should cut down costs. You cut it down because no say it is say na you say your ministers you do so no me. You entity be free so deputies be one more here. No ma be one more fa so bi anhye dan emre ye. She we friend say me who say na ministries be mo ho no mo ya nana. And she da utimi who say nka ye dey join ni we anka. Juma baako na no mo ye but ne ya pedin brofu edru ne ya pedin den bi ne dia toso won ye pacho
nano na me check
I don't know my main can be kakra me I'm thinking of when it comes to the solutions we have seriously we have solutions when it comes to young hwenya ma betumi ama oman no it may generate sika from oman no it may ye niama bibi e bia na ye ka no say some of the when it comes to agri sector no niama e wo say it we dua we have the solutions but one say political we no na e high say me NDC ni me NPP ni enti say NDC ni di adwen bi ba yenye so far as enye time ne de ye bebo egu what I say enti so ono so edru ne de so na say o de ba so far as we no mu time etwemu no enti ono so bebo egu wo ho anka enye bibi bone say ya fa zongo ministry ya ye zongo ministry enye bone because zongo ministry no wo hwe ye zongos na ye wona say na omo kan say ye be develop zongos no at least enye bibia but it's just because young kasano yenye ready say ye be use solutions no ye be implement it and that is the reason why we are suffering. We have all the solutions we have yeti hey my assignment say the two of us young kasa yenhwe education sector solutions are able to me outline a great sector solutions are able to me outline and you ebe your mama say niama ye de beba out actually no what I say and enye ye nkwa ohwe obia ye ka obia wo solution but ye mfa nye adwuma. That is the point. That is the point.
Ntino na osaso ka bibi o ka bibi e wa ye papa o ka bibi na no so ye mede o say even omo ba ba mu motorbike kra e jira ma traffic
na shena na wo nyoma bi won no mo like me edu hon mo kra no me won say me be to table ni so na won say it's like we don't have listening ears says in your manager kano and adeba ko so am realizing say nana wo pese wo ya ade no na ye di udin to so say nana na TV so what I say it no idea be a manager wo de be ma be a unjintu what I say because o pese solely say ye menkwa and am ye and if ye ka say ye be in this ye be market time 100 days na that so market time. But nana me wo idea fa volume ho eti ma me ye volume no na wo so na wo nim screen no ye obi so nim about bibi fofra onye and by the time we realize no emrika ye tu e wa brabo ni na se bibia economy ni dwane towards no it will be amazed. But I say me pese me party ba na me be ye wo so party ba on be ye we party ba enuti na obi hu say obi a start to osi school aka roofing and I say be before obi fi aban mu no na ese nkoye plastering we ntimi anye be si ne school ni si nrem ema enua like in even say wheat a fu ye no say edani trees
and the trees and
what I say all because no or person no shase no no so cut sword now no ye bibia meanwhile no eye Ghana sike ya ye ko bob bisie ya na edi si sa de si nrem won eti no na onim say eye ni pesu eye uba the African way na eye yesu because even asori mupo no so be boa ni nua a oye president and I say be oye chairperson or be boa no na wasati onye or China ye ono so voting into power no so ababa be yes ade no but if ye boa ye ho oh na ade we dem say painting black and ke be boa na ye ne sane yakoye nim onye ye na say no me ba no ababa ye foforo. So what I say, and I think say ye boa ye ho na ye tie ye ho to say na initial state na manager ka say CPP wo ho MPP wo ye ni na ye combine forces I think say you betimi push your mind no e di akoni
ye mrendi aye fi bansa na be sorry so manager obeka ni obeka ansa na mudi mu last west aba ansa sorry so
okay my main can be big kakra wo trade industries I can say Montpellier say production of cements, ceramics and other things be over for boss so say say parliament jitu mu say we trade industry ministry no be take over normal implementing and I ask myself what is so this one is different from 1DF 1D 1F
one district one factory
we know you're different from that
different you say project on its own
won't say I say mama yen can say being children crofo we now mon yen can sem the dead and to say these are some of the things that just say a cabo mayanko because trading industries and I say trade ministry and to mean there separate. Now if you one district one factory so
I need a separate
they be
can't work
say almost building I say almost building almost fan ka ho prekona and building and my nyamesa akana say or can be about NHIS and or nanko or merging with the Ghana card but I ask myself say nyen kwala ni na na ekoya Ghana card what I say basic nekra Ghana card
nkofo bi ni bi
na me tie kwa ni Ghana card ho asem be because do you know say Ghana card sisi a call head officer she unya yen print ma o ye say card a short too almost circulate we information across all the districts say card a short into your card but oko ye wo baby wo ho no ma kwa agina hoje ukotua obenya o card sisi ya onim
na so card a short na so yo bibia obekọ gina hoje ye na papa no Jessica pudo kesie na du ama
enye bibia say o de ma men chira because we me makoye bi so I can bear witness oko car bank on my head office or range obekọ akọji o card sisi ya so card ayira o de to 110 ye be ya ma so card no koye no for right about 200 and something no koye ko tua ya be ya ma car bank a private bank and I say or minor bank
say private bank
I didn't know anye wo Ghana commercial bank
no call car bank
I didn't know anye wo GCB head office nana
on my be ya efiye na kasa ya ani akosia
nana
until last words I would be my any nsema obeka ya sorry soon
yo nana me the American say you know they should take us serious for once kai who say o mine na ye team no eye nyina ye dia who say nana say who deprive me of nyoma bi mu for so longer o ma me best out I say what can me ahye corner bi mu wo de me ahye mia na wo mia me wo mia one day me best out momo ma ye do sa state na ebema ye best start say ye misbehave what you say ye nyoma bi mu na ye tu anamon bi mu a ensese ye tu it is for once they should take us serious because no omo kan won say wo hwe aban and say government na utimi say majority empenifo omo they are past 60 years 60 years and over ebi mo 50 years omo empenifo forgetting say majority of the population of Ghana no youth what you say ain't no omo ma youth no ehu yi omo so what you say omo ma youth no hu hi omo no mu yi ade bi a mo be ye bia bibia youth no be benefit say you would say you say aponchi say o say ni radan no nim say ono ankasa ne ho na
o say
o wie na pampe mwetutu ono so kroya so ni baby obeda e wo mran iso eto enti no people should take us serious for once and stop throwing sand into our eyes and I say mo to anwa digu ye ni so say basa no omo to anwa digu ye ni so they should take us for serious for once no more solutions to the problems Ghanaians are facing omo ma listening ears di obi betimi aye and I said dia ekoso na wuntimi ye na wunua ne betimi aye although he's not from your political party and I said we no man ne kwan no so emboa no man ko nanim because the mine is not all about you MPP NDC there is a bigger picture behind the political parties no it's a pomocho omo solutions to the problem na ye jai say like you raise tensions here and there nipa bro nana enkrofo breast seriously there are people in this country who can't feed 3 times or even talk of 2 times and until didi so betcha about 12:30 to 1 no akodidi not their catch and opa ne area ne nwumre so they should take us serious for once and omofa policies edi ahoto beba oman ne mu enfambra and they should forget about all these things now omoja extravagant lifestyle na ye living more than we gain. Our income is very small but our expenditure is way too way. It's a pomocho omonye nyoma oman no ye ho beto ye kaka na ye nja ebosian na ya ba no aye hu dia ya amaye pacho nana medemanu esi
duanu esi akose
okay medase nana mamenka me last words nana fe to send America and these are some of the things I may expect from the State of the Nation's address. And so to say, no say, men so made a Kahun said, these are some of the things as a country or as a nation we need to think of. Promote economic growth through innovations. The next one here, strategic immigration reform. As in, I was saying, yet to me, skilled people.
Exactly.
Phobia to send a China a Gary machine. China a Gary machine. Anka China be a Gary machine on be wo on my way. onko ombesisa we no hanom mfa anko no honom nko you and produce umbre nemu obeye factory na obe produce machines na ombeye wo ha what I say because hanom na ye raw materials no efi ebo ha so these are some of the things I was say we should think of na yetumi Emma oman no ko nenim afen so do you know say ye kase health doctors ni nurses ni bi wo ho no ma drugs are ye use ye de maye wo hospitals ni nyama labs are ye koye ukwa na ya sheda aka che se koye lab ni nyama ye nyina no nim say ebi no ho na mo g percentage oh yes into call hospital bi e be ka che say kona koye o lab no wo lab we bi wo baby na ya che
yes
koye wo honum. And these are some of the things when you know hard what I say. So it's about time I will say as individuals say baby yenya cat corners ni feeling no yen so ye be to me a jam musene be or mine no be to me according. And the another one I want to talk to you about way and only my last one require unemployed workers to volunteer. One say when it comes to volunteering, no, Ghana ha yenyade. One yenyade. I was say aka Ghana no. Yetumi makwan na companies no. Prepare na Emma volunteers be ye juma or honum. And to say volunteer ye juma untua na ka. To say na utua worker na ka no. But obema no allowances kakakaka. What I say. So we should allow unemployed youth na ye bano. So na be able to be volunteering our police sector, any other place. What I say, hospitals, any other companies, no. So na be able to be nya bibi kakaka dia share ye boto. Me da sepa bede na sem no abebi. Thank you.
Senia ye benya bibi kakra dia share ye botom ye dam asese mo nyamra tenase. Ayede Sona 2023 ho nsem twetwe abetu dwa kyese nyina ya bubu ya ka kyese ensem amampanyi ebeka nyina no kyese ye di abetu akwamu ahu se ebi akosi aka na adwen kyese ebisu aka na adwen na kyese nyoma no ose nyoma bi wo ho a mpanifo no sanye no mu fan Kenya emebununu because we are the future leaders of this noble country. And me amidi jumedie hu chia me ye frame Odeneho na na Nyarko Abronomaa me ne me nuaba
ejewa kodie
ansa na ye be sore so kwa na ye kai mu enche the Church of Pentecost and Bubuashi District Youth Ministry wo be ye Love Crucified 2023 ntino obi biaro tie bia na e day no dure ya betu dwama na kyese mo ababi 2nd April na mo aba na kyese nyina ya be actually Love Crucified Manyankopon ye din check ese mo bi biara ye tie fo ne ahwefo ni obi biara management ane mo amohwe me especially me maame mebusuafo King K owo UK sia ane message Nyankopon on share just was send message because I say I'm watching you right now ane Nyankopon on share King and Nyankopon on share papa. Thank you very much. Because ya obechia when answer sorry.
Ichia for ni ahwefo na say omo jimbre na omo ne yetna throughout Sona 2023 ni mu. Yes ya da omo sepa ye da mo se da ni de ni na omo ta yechi. E na yechi abubu ahwefo ni na
yechi abubu ahwefo enyina obi biara and some refi so bitia arat fo nyina nso bitia ne Pentecost fo nyina me refi aso ni din Pastor Les aso ne friend say and Jesus Anointing
Power and Prayer Ministry.
Thank you very much. Because I want to shine ye church omu nyina Samson a sweet life and nanso munya wedding bi ominim ne ntia me ba be di bi nti no omu ma me ma wedding no omo break you wedding wa ho and ye din check ese ema omo
economy ni mo ayehye
so and ye do biara se ye da se na ye be sa ye dey bye bye